my wife had a passion for Hobo Joe. And so you talk about a one person dynamo that wanted to make this happen. She made it happen. She got a hold of Port Hayden and said, how do we fix this? How do we, refurbish it? And so Port jumped on board, and Hobo Joe made his way out to the airport. And so then we needed a painter. Well, I believe she found a painter out of Kingman, Arizona, where she had a client, and this guy painted all sorts of stuff in downtown Kingman. Fantastic. So we're going through the refurbishing. Well, another snag. City of Buckeye goes, Main Street, you can't spend any city funds on Hobo Joe. So we had to go through private fundraising. Well, I think you just pissed Charlene off. I'll figure it out. She was able to get grants from several insurance companies and, of course, personal funds and everything else to make this happen and get him painted, and our fundraising activities and all those kind of things. So on and on, and it seemed like it took forever, and it was a long process. Charlene was involved in it from day one. She'd go out and visit Port at the airport and look at how things were coming, and I'm sure that Port got tired of hearing from her, but he kept making things happen for us. So then, okay, we've got a spot. How are we going to get him up? What do we have to do? Okay. Well, Charlene contacted her very good friends at Desert Services, and they agreed to erect Hobo Joe. And they came down here, and they did this whole area for the city, for us, for Buckeye Main Street, for Charlene. And here he stands today. But there were a lot of other partners in the process, and I can't remember all of them, but George Hunter put the lighting in, and Tony Yonker had the parking lot done, and Port got tons and tons of friends and family to participate. Buckeye Main Street was involved. What a journey. So we stand here today with Hobo Joe. I know that Charlene is here with us, and I thank everybody for being here for this presentation. This is I personally and the Buckeye Main Street Board feels that this is a great thing for the city of Buckeye, and Hobo Joe is currently on very a lot of travel guides. It's like what to see in downtown Buckeye, what's unusual, things like that. I remember traveling to go watch our daughter CJ play volleyball, and we'd go to some state, and it was like, okay, this is the home of the biggest pecan, or the home of the largest ball of yarn. Well, in those magazines, they go, Buckeye, Arizona, Hobo Joe. So he's here for people to enjoy, and thank you very much. This could not have happened without Ron Noble and his family and all the volunteers and partners, and the Buckeye Main Street Board and their passion to make this happen. Thank you very much.
And my husband, Jeff Servin, he's over there, partner in crime. And we both serve on the Buckeye Main Street Coalition. And we were just talking in the kitchen, I don't know, night before last. And he's like, yeah, Laura, I just went to the Top Golf, and I talked to all these, data center people who are working on these 500 million or 500,000 square feet data centers, and I worked on the Civic Center, and they're like, "Hey Jeff, what have you been working on the past 10 years?" And he's like, "A Hobo Joe statue." So we are proud to say that we did all the drawings for this statue, and it didn't. I mean, where to start is crazy. I want to start with just thanking Candy for putting this event together. She has not missed a beat, and just seeing all the organization and how her mind works and all the details, I would have never imagined this day would come, because there were many weeks, months where it just seemed like impossible that this day would even happen. But it started with Benbow Veterans Park, and it started with the Black Monument Wall, and it started, it was one of our design initiatives. And we had, on our Main Street meetings, we'd meet every month and we'd have design initiatives. We had Benbow Alley, that was one of them. So that Veterans Park was really a catalyst. And because we all worked together and we ended up liking each other after that went up, we're like, hey, let's do more stuff. And so we did the alley, and and Hobo Joe was just like, that started in like 2014, because Sean Bonda added me as an admin on the Facebook page for Buckeye Main Street Coalition, and I think there was like 30 followers. And so I put the logo on there first, and I put some posts, and no one responded, just deadpan. And so I'm thinking, we have to have some kind of image. I don't know what that is. It's certainly not going to be me. And so I'm like, maybe that Hobo Joe that's back there sitting by the garbage can at the meat packing plant, maybe I'll try that. And so the only person I asked was Doris. And she's like, yeah, go for it. And it was very quiet for months. And then all of a sudden, people were responding like crazy to any post I would put on there. Like they thought they were talking to Hobo Joe. Ladies thought, I'm like, well, this is creepy, but that's... So that's what started the momentum, and it was a slow momentum. And then before long, Hobo Joe ended up on the design initiative. Like, let's buy Hobo Joe. But he was out of our reach. He was like $26,000. Like, okay, well, that's never going to happen. So we just... Our mantra was, let's work on what we can to make downtown, have more foot traffic down here. And so as it started to evolve and more momentum, gained, all we did, I think our role in planning was to make Hobo Joe look sellable, like people would buy into it. And that meant, doing Adobe Illustrator, doing the posts, having people really believe in a positive image for Hobo Joe. And I can't tell you how many times, like the feed store, I would bring Ron and Tammy. Tammy, how many 11 by 17s did I bring you? Lots. Ron would be like, I need an 11 by 17. So you have to understand, it wasn't just this project. Every project we worked on, it was always to get everyone's buy-in, So eventually, and thanks to Jay, I mean, he pretty much told you what the story was, but the locations, Jeffrey's amazing with his 3D renderings. We had to make a good, legitimate rendering of Hobo Joe, put him in. At that time, we thought he was going to be at the Bayless Park in the trees, or he was going to be by Town Park by the Girl Scout building. And so we had to make him look as professional as possible and put him in we'd take a picture of the park, and then we'd put Hobo Joe in there and do our construction documents. And as long as you put our stamp on it, they'll pretty much believe anything you put on those construction documents. And then just when we would do a design presentation, Charlene would call and be like, we're going to do a crowdfunding. Can you apply for that? Can you just do a rendering? Can you? I'm like, oh, yeah, sure, I'm going to do that. So it's just, you just did whatever needed to be done. And sometimes people would walk up to me and just say, this is never going to happen. You're never going to get this to happen. It's going to end up like the house down there in the field, the Ganley, or not the Ganley, but the Rainey house. And maybe that's what made us just push that much harder. against the impossible. And even when I thought, what am I doing? And it was hard too, working with people like Roy, who thought, we can get this, we can do this. We know how to do the foundation. And then you got the city saying, we need a permit. You have to have a permit. You have to have a licensed contractor. So, I can't help how many contractors we got estimates from. It was crazy. And how many crowdfunding and how many times we put our hand out begging for money. But in the end, thanks to Tony and thanks to Port, especially Tony, when you opened up this site, you opened up hope. And Port, when you said, yeah, I'm going to take Hobo Joe, it was like, it was true hope. And you made our hearts sing, literally. So it just seems like a continuation of excitement of this particular area downtown. I'm ecstatic that you're all here and that this is happening and that he's standing. So it's only going to attract better things for downtown and more people to our downtown, and that's why we're all here. So, and I just want to know that Charlene and Ron are definitely here today, for sure. And it definitely could not have happened without them, without their bravery and their foresight and creativity, and they're willing to do scary things and not worry about the outcome, for sure. So, thank you for this opportunity, and it's an honor to be able to speak today.
Guys, well, when I got the phone call 4 years ago from Charlene, this was just, she told me, she's like, I just need a place to put Hobo Joe. I was like, okay, I can help you with that, no big deal. And then it escalated in, well, can you help us with that? And I started thinking back to my childhood. When I was a kid, we'd always take drives, and when I was mad or something, my mom would take us for a drive, and we'd always go by Hobo Joe, always go see Hobo Joe. So it had a place in my heart that, I felt like I needed to do it because he's a statue in my childhood, So I told her, I said, you know what? I will help you with Hobo Joe. We'll do everything we can to get him refurbished, fixed up, put in place, what have you. We'll do it. So I took it on. And then I got a phone call the next day saying that, hey, so Hobo Joe needs to be moved on a Sunday from Duncan and Son to wherever you're going to put him. I said, okay, we can do that. So we drive down to Duncan and Son, get all our equipment loaded up to move them, and Duncan and Son Lines is closed. So I decided, you know what? Well, he's up against the back fence by the canal there. I said we could just reach over the canal with a reach fork and pick him up and bring him back across, put him on a trailer, no problem. So we escalated into that project, and Charlene told me later, she was sitting there watching us, her and Laura, I believe, were there. She was sitting there watching us, and she's seeing Hobo Joe hanging in the air about 20 feet above the fence, and she's thinking, I've got the RID insured, I've got Ford insured, I've got Duncan's insured. This is not going to turn out good, I don't think. Well, it didn't. He dropped, chain broke his foot, actually. And I just sat there and shook my head, and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to be the guy that's going to go down as the guy that ruined Hobo Joe. And Charlene just turned around and walked away. She couldn't even look at it. She was freaking out. But we got him out of there, and it was a done deal. We got him back to the airport, and we sandblasted him and did a bunch of work. We had a lot of man hours in him. And Kiki, our painter, actually, guy in Rainbow Valley, he did all the finished body work on him, and he did a heck of a job. And Mike Royal did all the airbrushing, and a lot of man hours. But yeah, that's all I got to say about it. But it was a hell of a process. It took about 3 years, is what it took. So I appreciate it, guys. Thank you for coming out.
Good morning. I just want to thank Main Street for inviting me to speak this morning. Chris McAkron from Main Street emailed me the Hobo Joe timeline a while back for me to review to prepare for today. You know, we all remember going down Highway 80, and it laid there gray and creepy and scary. And Deanna Cupsick, wherever you are, we all know the story of you being afraid of Hobo Joe. But nobody really knew where he came from or why he was in Buckeye. We didn't know. We just knew that Gillums had painted it and put it up, and there was the huge controversy. Is it a sign? Is it art? What is it? When the insurance company representatives would visit the office at Powers Levitt, Charlene could not wait to take them to La Pasita to eat and then drive by Hobo Joe. This was a long time passion for her. And when it became possible to save him and Main Street bought him, she put all of her efforts into getting him back on his feet and shined up. She called him Hobo Rehab. For those of you that knew my friend, once she set her mind to something, watch out. It would happen. She worked hard to get all the right people involved, and none of the folks that she asked for help ever told her no, because they knew that she would return the friendship if they ever needed anything. We took a road trip a few years ago and looked up other muffler men type statues in Colorado, actually, and we used the website roadsideamerica.com. When you get a chance, pull your phone up and pull that website up. You'll see Hobo Joe's on there. There's a lot of folks that they enjoy going and seeing these really large things. When we were in Colorado, we saw a really big, gigantic spider. It's amazing. I mean, it was interesting. We were doing it to research the bases and what kind of lighting and things that Hobo Joe might need. She was always thinking about the project, always. We ate lunch in these towns. We bought gas. We bought souvenirs. That was her intent. She wanted Hobo Joe downtown, so we went to Cafe 2535, or we went to La Pasita. We bought gas at Shell. That's what she wanted, to bring these folks into downtown. Hobo Joe is a chance to help the downtown merchants. That was her goal, and she succeeded. And she would be very proud today. Thank you.